Well, welcome, Gracie, back to the Flower Podcast. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What a crazy year this has been. Um, what's been going on this year?
Well, we have been busier than ever. Our business changed like so many businesses this year with everything going on around the world. And for us, being an e-commerce business, we really thrived this year. We grew and shipped more roses than we've ever done before. And
Wow.
I think the best part about it is we were able to go from, well, I guess it's a double-edged sword, but we were able to go from employing, I think, about 7 or 8 people full-time to about 35 full-time now.
Wow.
Because our business has grown so much. So we work day and night. We have day shifts, night shifts, and we are just growing roses and getting them off to people as fast as we can. So we've been really busy. Our business now is primarily retail. So we ship direct to consumers that just want beautiful flowers for their home or to give a gift to somebody. So on an average day, if we're shipping 250 orders or so, about 230 of those are direct to consumer.
Wow.
We still do some weddings, workshop weddings, things for florists, but not to the degree that we used to. So it's been a big shift and a big changes here.
Yeah, of course. And do you think that's just the result of COVID and weddings being canceled, or do you feel like there's some other element to that?
Well, we were on that path anyway. I think I talked to you earlier this year, and I said last year we built our website so that it would be direct to consumer friendly. And we started a bouquet business, basically. Because our wedding business was so busy last year, we didn't really have a lot of time or resources to devote to building a retail business, but we had the infrastructure in place. So we had the website, all the coding and all of the supplies and things like that would be necessary to start marketing direct to consumers. And I'm really grateful that I had that foresight to want to start that side of our business, because lo and behold, we needed it this year.
Right, of course.
So we just kind of swooped right in, like in early April when our roses started blooming. We just went heavy on marketing direct to consumers. So it worked out well.
Well, good. Well, okay, so now I noticed that there's some other big changes that you guys have put into place. Like it looked like recently you were building some infrastructure as far as raised tunnels or something to cover the roses. And so tell us about that. What's going on there?
We did. So in late September, early October, that took about 5 weeks total. We built, I think, around 4 acres of high tunnels over our rose fields. So we didn't cover everything. We left probably about 5,000 roses out from cover, but we covered about 20,000-ish. And they are thriving. So they're in very like rudimentary, steel tunnels that can come down in the warmer months. Of course, the posts are deep into the ground, not in concrete, but they're 4 feet down. So we'll leave the posts in all year. That was the biggest job. I think we dug around 1,800 holes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And because our roses were already established in the ground, we had to go in, typically with these type of tunnels, like they just attach an auger to the back of a tractor and they just go and put these posts in and then they plant the crop. Well, for us, our crop was already planted for 3 years now. So we had to go in, trim our rose bushes back and go in manually with handheld augers and dig 1,800 holes, something like that. So it was a big job. And we had guys day and night with like stadium lights on digging holes, because I said, all this is for nothing if we don't get these up before a frost.
Right.
So we had a devastating frost last November 1st that just killed our season overnight. Like it went from 75 and sunny on Halloween, and to that Halloween night, it got down to 24.
Oh my gosh.
And then we never had another, you know, through January, and it was always 65 to 75 during the day, but one night killed our entire crop. So it didn't kill the plant, it just killed the blooms, obviously,
right,
and the ability to keep blooming. Right. Also, although we did have a lot of dieback on our plants, like where the canes turned black from the frost. So that was bad because canes are what produce stems and roses. So we did lose a lot of canes on our roses that were established. So we invested in all of the metal tubing and the greenhouse coverings, you know, and we erected these giant tunnels. And so now we're basically indoor growers in the winter. And because it's warm here during the day in California, like most of the days are like 65 to 80 in the winter. It's just that nighttime temperature that can get really cold. The hoop houses are 95 to 100 all day long. So the roses are just going crazy. They're happy. It's humid in there. They're blooming like it's summer, basically. And we don't have to worry about them dying overnight. So it's been a big stress relief for me, because as a farmer, I think all the flower farmers, there's like a sense of relief when the season ends, but you also know that your income is drying up for the year until spring. And that's obviously the hardest part about being a flower farmer, is the dry months where it's like November, December, January, February, March. Some farmers don't make money until June in the northern states. So we wanted to mitigate our risk and continue to employ our employees all winter and not have to lay people off, as we did last year. We had to abruptly, on November 1st, let go of practically everyone that worked for us because there were no more roses. So yeah, there was nothing for them to do and no money coming in. So they're not the prettiest looking things, all these tunnels, but they're doing their job and they're protecting our roses, and our roses are still blooming. So it's good.
Wow. And how big of a difference is that going to make in your production season?
Well, they'll come, so the arches and the plastic will come off probably late March, because we don't have frost threats here by then. The biggest thing that they're going to do is we'll prune all the roses that are under cover right after Valentine's Day, so mid-February. Because they'll be under cover, they are going to come back into production so much faster.
Oh yeah.
So typically for us, if we prune January 1st, outdoor roses, they'll come back into bloom about 100 days later. It's about 100 days from the time you prune till the first bloom. So because these roses are going to be under cover, and it's going to be warm and humid and all those great things that they like, I expect them to come back in about 6 weeks. I tested this last year. We had a small greenhouse and we pruned a rose bush on January 1st, and late February, it was in full bloom because it was in a greenhouse. So we'll see. So we're going to prune after Valentine's Day, assuming that our roses are still churning them out. Before Valentine's Day, we'll probably offer like a limited, maybe 1,000 bouquets or something for Valentine's Day. We don't want to go crazy and do anything like we did for Mother's Day. We did 10,000 for Mother's Day, but and then we'll prune. So the good thing will be that we'll be back into production sooner, probably late March, and then we won't have the covers won't be on for the summer. Obviously, it would be way too hot in there.
Yeah.
They would torch. They would die in there. It would be way too hot. So.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, that's got to make a huge difference on your bottom line, to be able to extend your season by by a quarter at least, if not more.
I only expect to be down without roses like probably 6, maybe 8 weeks. So much better. And we'll be busy pruning during that time and doing all the farm cleanup and all the things that have to be done anyway when you have a farm. Like the winter work is never ending. There's so much work in the winter. So
I know
Yeah, so it's
people are
good.
like, oh, they go to sleep. You don't have anything you really have to do.
Oh my
And
God,
it's
I
kind of
know.
like,
I know. I get these texts from people or DMs from people saying, "Oh my gosh, I hope you guys have a restful winter." And I'm like, "You don't own a farm." Like, uh, and all the pruning and the cleanup, and it's just, yeah,
yeah,
the work never ends.
crazy. So I was really excited. I know as we're recording this Thanksgiving week, but last week it looked like you launched your new product line, and
I
that's
did.
really what I'm so excited about. I want to learn more about tell us about the new product line and the
Okay.
process and kind of
Well,
everything about that. I can't wait.
I have it here, so I'll show you what's in the box in a few minutes. But
Okay.
um, so from the beginning of when we started growing roses, I always said that the scent should be bottled. I always felt like people just don't know what real roses are, what the scent of them is, and that it's so special. And all of the perfumes that I've tried out there, whether they come from France or what high end, middle end perfumes, they have that fake rose smell, like just that like commercial rose
Yeah.
fragrance that is just kind of what people expect. And I personally don't like those very much. And I wanted to create beauty products, for lack of a better word, that were inspired by our roses and contain our roses in them. So, and a big part of that is because even though our cut rose business is thriving and we have, we're shipping, thousands of roses a week, um, we grow more than we ship. We always will, because there are roses that are not cut worthy for weddings. They're on short stems, or we don't get to them in time and they're blown open, or they have a little, brown spot on them and they're just not a good cut rose. But the petals are still beautiful and they should be used for a purpose. So we started collecting our petals this year in the spring, and we amassed millions upon millions upon millions of petals.
Wow.
And we took this year and we distilled them. My husband has a distillery here on our farm that he built, and we've been distilling our organic rose petals to make essential oil and rose water that are then put into the products that we're making. And it's been great. I mean, we'll see if consumers like it. That's always the big question. Like, can I go from being a cut flower farm to a beauty producer? I don't know. That's to be seen at this point. But the story is there, the message is there, the cause is there, the purpose. So the big thing is being sustainable. Like, in farming, there's so much waste, whether it's flower farming, food farming, there's just so much waste.
Right.
And we were guilty of that too. Just having way more roses than we could physically move off of our property, just not even due to like lack of demand, more just like the labor and the cost of shipping and the cost of materials and everything to move cut roses is so high. We've talked about how it's not necessarily the most profitable business, when you're shipping products that's perishable. And I wanted to find another way to use the roses that we're growing in a more sustainable, less risky way than just as the cut flower. So if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing, it's always so funny because people just think, it's not a perfectly timed process with demand, colors, all of a sudden the red's flushing and no one wants red this
Mm-hmm.
week, but next week they
Right.
do. So what do you do with them this week? Or all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like I know I watched, following you over the summer, all of a sudden it's like 105 degrees
Yeah.
and everything goes into fifth gear. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, there's a steady flow of roses and now there's this huge bump in production
Mm-hmm.
just because of the temperature. And then it's like, okay, what do you do with it? And I
Mm-hmm.
think finding a way to capture that production is
Mm-hmm.
really, it's fascinating to me because
Yeah.
they just keep blooming, they just keep doing their thing, and now
Exactly.
you can harness that energy that before just went to waste. And so
Exactly.
um,
Exactly. And I think and that's the big thing, is that we had a whole crew that would go out and collect roses every day, 4 men. We'd collect roses every single day, and then they'd come back to the barn and they'd depetal them from the stamens and separate them. And waste we had before. And that's even with Lamaro and Fermin cutting 40,000 roses a week from orders. So, I mean, the perfect ones, they were the long stems, the ones that were desirable for cut flower. That's so many roses. Like, it's just the sheer amount is so many. And then to have all of these petals coming in by the truckload every single day was like, wow, we had so much waste before. I mean, literally so much. So,
I was going to ask that. I was going to say, so that was a surprise to you how much there was, because
yeah, so much waste. And you know, it costs a pretty big fortune to grow these type of roses, to grow any flower,
right.
You know, at all. It's you know, we always talk, and I'm sure lots of people that have come on your podcast talk about educating consumers and brides on the cost of flowers, and what it really is to grow them is just, yeah, it's crazy. So being able to use everything that we're growing it feels really, really good. And it feels like a good step toward sustainability, and like not just for us as a business, like with our employees, but like in the big picture of like using the lands that we own and our resources the right way, and then building our brand too, like getting a different type of following, you know, like sometimes I think at this point, do I have all the flower lovers already following me and subscribe to our emails? And as a business, you should always be thinking, how do I get more buyers and more people interested in my business? And this is one way to attract a different type of audience that wants these types of things. So yeah, and so we're looking forward to it. And I think it will be, you know, if it's successful and it grows, I think it will be a way for us to also then really focus deeper on the ladies and the gentlemen who love our roses the most, and order from us like every week or every 2 weeks, whether retail or wholesale, and give them a really like even better customer experience, where we can give them a lot of focus and not feel like we have to sell every single rose that we grow, you know, and take every single order. Because some orders, you know, if they're shipped all the way across the country and those roses don't arrive on time with FedEx, or they're damaged, the order wasn't profitable. So we're trying to also get to a point where we're mitigating our risk as a business that ships perishables. So we focus on the people who understand that shipping is out of our control, but will give us a second chance if the roses arrive in bad shape, or 5 days late rather, because they love our roses. They're going to come back, versus just shipping out tons and tons of boxes and having a lot arrive late, and then you have a customer service nightmare. So the products are a way to basically a little bit, hopefully, decrease our perishable shipping load over time, but still get our roses out to people, but in a different form. So
Oh, I like
that makes
that.
sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's kind of, I don't know, while I was listening to you, this idea of caviar popped in my head, because I think, you know, to people who might be a connoisseur of fine foods, they might appreciate, you know, everything that caviar is, and to some people it's you know, disgusting, because it's you know, it's like just the idea of it is repulsive, and it's kind of like what you produce is unique, and it's not for everyone, and the thing about it is you know, if you're not used to dealing with the kind of quality and the delicacy of this product, you're not really setting them, I don't know, it becomes a bad situation, I feel like, and and in this situation, I think that you can streamline things a lot more. And I mean, I love the idea of recapturing these roses. Now, I'm curious, because one thing you've taught me is the variety of fragrances that come from these roses. And
Mhm.
do you just mix them all together, or do you like have certain scents that do for certain things? And
Mhm.
I'm kind of curious the method to your madness there.
So Ryan has a recipe for his rose water that I probably shouldn't share, but he has a recipe, but it's he has certain roses that give off the most aroma. Let's say that,
Okay.
and a combination of them that go really well together. So for the most part, the rose water is made up of, I think it's about 6 to 7 varietals that he tested and tested. He started this 3 years ago and
Wow.
just evolved it over 3 years. And he was using like a little copper still this big, and we'd go out and we'd pack it with like, I don't know, maybe 5,000 rose petals, which is not a lot of petals. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. And he'd get like this much rose water out of it from all those petals. And he'd say, "Oh, this stinks. We're going to try this. Now we're going to try this variety." Or this is too, like sometimes it has like an artichoke smell from some of them.
Okay.
Sometimes he'd cook it too fast. It's a slow process. And the slower you go with cooking it, the better it is. So yeah. So there's that a recipe, and then as far as the other fragrance, we worked with a how would I describe her? She's like a master perfumer, and she teaches at FITM, and so she's a perfume business, and she's a well-renowned perfume artist and fragrance artist. And she helped us capture the notes in our roses, the different scent notes. So if you get like citrus or raspberry or
Wow.
chocolate or caramel, Honey Dijon has a ton of caramel in it, so is Coco Loco. She helped us capture those fragrances and then create them into fragrance, so into a tangible fragrance. So there's the rosewater aspect, and then there's the like fragrance extraction part that she helped us create for the products. So it's kind of a two-part thing. We're also drying our petals and
Mhm.
using our hips as well for future products that are in development right now.
Wow,
So
exciting. I mean, it's so exciting.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so do you have, now this sounds like a really stupid question, but do you have like barrels of rose water sitting around, like waiting to be used or converted into things, or does this process happen fairly quickly? Or, I mean,
So we did. So for a while we had, so Ryan gets these 5-gallon jugs, and then he has a reverse osmosis system that he fills those with, and then they go into his like 50-gallon drum that is the steamer for the still, and then his main still is like 70 gallons, and steam comes over. So we would make, here's kind of the numbers. It was about 90 pounds of petals produced 10 gallons of rose water or hydrosol, 10
wow.
gallons. So he'd fill up every day 2 of these 5-gallon jugs, like just like the jugs that Sparklets or Arrowhead bring, you know.
Yeah.
So he'd fill up 2 of those a day. And then we have a cold storage unit on our property that is a walk-in cooler outdoors, and we stored it in there. And then all of it went on a truck to the facility that makes our products on the other side of the country. And
Wow.
then it was bottled. It was like sanitized and, you know, all those things that they have to do, testing it and all. Well, they've been testing it for the last 6 months, but, and then it was bottled and sent back to us. So we don't do any of the bottling here because that has to be done in a, you know, a lab that has, you know, all of the USDA, you
Safety
know,
requirements.
organic
Yeah.
certifications. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're just making the raw material, and then they sanitize it and all those things and bottle it, and it comes back to us. So
Okay. So how many
yeah.
different products do you have?
Right now we have 3, and then we have 2 more coming out for Valentine's Day. So with 3 products, and I wanted to start with 5, but it couldn't happen in time because all the product development and testing and regulatory stuff. And our products are actually being certified to ship overseas. So that's a whole other process, especially
Wow.
with Europe and
Yeah.
China. It's a big regulatory process. So we were only able to get 3 products. Not only, I shouldn't say only, because that's a big deal, but
Yeah.
like certified and produced for holiday.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, do you do the packaging and everything there on the farm, or you get these uh, bottles and whatever in, and then you put the labels on? I mean, do you do all that part of it, or is that all done at the
No,
shipper or the
that's all done there.
good?
We package the goods. So I'll show you. We package them in their component boxes after they arrive. We get the
Okay.
component boxes from one shipper, and then we get the product from the lab, and we put them together. And our girls do that at night. We have 2 sanitary trailers that are, I think I've talked to you about those before. They're cargo containers,
Yeah,
40-foot long cargo containers that we turned into coolers. So they're cold inside, which the girls don't like, but oh well. Keeps the product stable and everything. So those are like closed environments, dust free, easy to clean because they have stainless steel walls and all that. So the girls work in there for the packaging part, but all the product already comes bottled and labeled and all of that from I think it's New Jersey, New York.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible, this has just been such a crazy year. And to be able to produce products like this, I think is quite an accomplishment in the midst of everything else you've been dealing with. So,
yeah, it's scary. It's definitely scary because we're not known for this.
right.
So it's really like starting a whole new category online and trying to build a whole new catalog of clients. Just because people like my cut roses doesn't mean that they're going to buy candles and perfume. You know, a lot of people, we did a soft launch last Tuesday to our email subscribers, and so many people bought, and we're so grateful for that. Like, and most of them I noticed are people that order roses from us every single week or every other week. We have about 600 like VIP clients that buy from us every week or every other week or whatnot. So many of those ladies bought, and we were so like touched and surprised and grateful and all those things, because I had no idea. Like, I didn't know if anybody was going to buy it. And then this week is our like kind of official launch. So today we're sending out PR boxes to like 250 big fashion and beauty influencers and lifestyle influencers. I hate the word influencer, but it is what it is.
Well, I know. I mean, it's like you're trying to get the word out, so you get it. So
yeah, and they're all girls. That they're girls that have a following from like my size up to millions. That already receive our roses. Like, we've gifted them roses throughout the year, so we have a relationship with them. And so that's been new for us, is like really kind of getting into the gifting and working with bloggers and influencers. And, it's just part of like, it's part of business now in this world, like, to grow. So it's definitely like a different type of thing than us being in the wholesale business before. And that's how our retail business grew this year, to be honest, is sending roses to people with influence and them sharing them on social media. So it's been weird. There's the baby crying.
Oh, that's been such a great addition for you this year too.
Yeah. So, it's her 6-month birthday tomorrow.
Is it really? God, it's hard to believe it's been 6 months. That's so exciting.
I know. So, should I show you with a box?
Yeah, let's see the box.
Okay. So this is like the collection box. People can buy the items like one-off, just single items, but this is kind of like the gift box. And from the cut roses that like I'm a packaging freak. And I always, even when we were just direct to florists, I wanted the experience of opening our roses to feel like Christmas Day and not just, flowers smashed in a box with newspaper. So our cut roses have always been packaged very beautifully, in my opinion, with ribbon and just nice quality packaging. So this is the box that people can get for the collection if they buy the collection. It comes with a bow and then kind of it's a nice printed gift box.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Magnetic. And then it opens like this. Oh, and things are falling out. So just have our print. I photographed those roses on top. And then it has the products sitting in here. They don't fall out. They're in a frame in there. And that's what they look like. So
wow. What a great gift. Here.
Yeah, I think it is a great gift. And like I said, I'm a packaging person, and I've bought so much like luxury product over the years, and a lot recently, especially because I've been doing market research on like how different luxury candles and luxury body creams, toners arrive. And I feel really good saying that, like, I think our packaging is nicer than like every other brand that I've bought from, which is kind of crazy to me, but comes in this like hard box and talks about the product and has like all the official stuff on the bottom, the bunny and all that. So comes with a bow, and then inside here is the candle. Sits in this little guy, and it smells just like getting a bouquet from us, to be honest. Like, it just smells like, it has some other notes. It has like fresh rain in it. Has a few other scent notes. There's a little bit of peony in it. Because what we really wanted this to smell like was like walking through our gardens. So you're going to pick up on other scents besides just roses if you're walking through a garden. You may smell the rain that just fell. You may smell a little bit of other florals that are coming in. So there's definitely a few other notes in there, but it's unmistakably rose, if that makes sense. And it has 6 different rose notes in it, so that are from our roses. So that's great. The candle. Yeah. And then we have already, our perfumer has 3 more fragrances that we're ready to launch, one for Mother's Day, one for summer, and one for next fall, assuming that this is successful and we're able to do that. We have 3 fragrances lined up that are also just like our roses, but have seasonal feels to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's, I mean, that's the one thing I think I've taken away from smelling and enjoying so many of the roses I've received from you guys, is there are distinct fragrances that are very different. And you're right. It's like, if you can embrace the different seasons that kind of go along with those scents, I think that's incredible. So how exciting is all of that? Well, I can't imagine what a better time of year, of course, with the holidays to launch something like this. And that's great. So,
that's this one, the perfume. And then the rose water comes in here. I'll just show you real fast. That's the rose water. And they come in glass bottles, so no plastic. So I don't like plastic.
Sure.
So, and that's the rose water. And the rose water is literally just our rose water with an organic stabilizer to keep it on the shelf, so it doesn't decay in the bottle. And that's it. So there's no additives, there's no perfume in it, there's nothing but rose water made at our farm. And then I think it's 95% our rose water and 5% organic stabilizer to preserve it. So
that's interesting, because I mean, I never really think about that, about things like rose water going bad, because and I'm like, what would the shelf life be without something like that?
I think you'd want to use it like within 6 months, probably. I keep my rose waters, I've always kept them in the refrigerator, because I like that. Because I'll come in from being outside and I'm hot and sweaty. It's like really nice just to mist your face with any kind of toner or rose water. So mine probably last longer because I do keep them in the fridge. But the lab that we worked with, they're a Parisian lab, and they develop products for some really, really big name beauty brands that are in Nordstrom and Sephora and whatnot. And I said, well, let's just have it be just our rose water. And they said, we're sorry, you have to have an organic stabilizer, organic preservative in it, because you can't go to market without that. So around the world. So, but yeah, no, it's great. So
amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's big things in store for 2021.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, whether it's new fragrances or longer season on the roses. Sorry, I heard some little feedback there. Or a longer season on the roses, and that's great. So as far, I noticed some big changes to your website too, as far as just now the focus being on because of the holidays and things like that as well. Do you feel like next year your focus is going to be less than on retail and just on these products and on your traditional customers, or do you how do you see that mix happening?
No, I think so. Actually, we're adding back onto our website the roses today. We shut them off because we didn't want people ordering over Thanksgiving week, because we weren't sure if roses would arrive on time with Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So we are going to start shipping roses again. Actually, today is our last day of shipping before the holiday. Then we're going to start shipping again on Monday. So there will be bouquets on our website to order all through the winter. They're in the process of putting them back online right now. But no, I think we're going to still do what we've been doing, shipping lots of roses. Hopefully building like a loyal kind of customer base for the cut roses, and just being able to focus really heavily on them, and then perhaps not, like I said earlier, take quite so many cut rose orders, so that we can also focus on this too, and building this and kind of having a good balance of the two. But I don't think that the cut roses will go anywhere, and hopefully there'll be weddings next year. We'll see.
What a great idea.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, I think everything's going to mostly stay as it is. And
absolutely. Well, Gracie, thank you so much. It's so great to catch up and see what's going on, and happy holidays, and just hope you guys have a great Christmas season, especially with that new little one you've got. So
thank you.
Best wishes.
You'll be getting a box from us tomorrow.
Oh,
okay. So you're on our PR list, so you'll be getting a box.
Well, that's fun. I'm not going to share that with my wife. That way it'll be a fun surprise for her too. So
there you go. I don't think you want to smell like a woman. So
no,
you might like you'd like the rose water. You'd like the rose water for a little refresh, but the perfume I would suggest maybe giving to your wife. So,
yeah, well, that was the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Thank you so much, Gracie.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Okay.